Hi, Mr. C here in the shop. One thing I'd like to talk to you today about is your project requirements. As you know, you've been working in this for a period of time, and we've covered every single aspect that you need to make sure you're prepared to go ahead and start your project and be successful. So what I would like to do is go through an example with you so that way you know exactly the order and what I'm expecting from you before you're able to work at the shop and start your project. These are the requirements that we discussed in great detail, but here is a full example that I'd like to show you. All right. As you're familiar, project requirements is what this is called, and depending on whether or not you designed your own project or you have gone ahead and had all the requirements made or put together for a project that already has a plan for you. So this is the first sheet. Now, as you remember, you have your bill of materials or your cut list, whatever you want to call it, where it has all your different components or parts laid out, and then you have figured out how many sheets of plywood, sheets of other panel goods, or hardwood is all figured in with all of your different prices of what these different items would cost, as well as any other information that is needed. Your board feet's figured out, and hardware and where you're going to buy your hardware from. As you notice, this sheet is the first one. The second sheet here, this is the door and drawer panels. As you can see here, he's figured out he needs 40 board feet of quarter sawn walnut, and then how many sheets of quarter sawn walnut and the sizes of those sheets, and some of the hardware that he's going to need. This project was done by a previous student that has graduated. Some of you are familiar with who this is because you remember him from a few years back. And your prices. Now remember, this student was sponsored by the company he worked for. He worked for an architecture millworking company that's rather large in the area. They felt that it was worth the investment in him, and they provided him with all the materials and paid for the whole thing. So there was a total price there. I'm not going to show that, just to protect the student and the company for what that final cost was. Now, project goals to completion. He was a student clearly in 2019. 2020 was his senior year, and these are the dates of the school year, and here are the different objectives or weekly goals that he had put together that he provided the sponsor, so the sponsor knew exactly what his plan was, so that way he could get done within the school year and have it done and provided a finished project for our regional fair that we hold here in the state of Michigan, Southeast Michigan. And on this year, it happened to be on May 1st, May 30th, April 30th, sorry. Now, as you might be familiar with, these are the weekly. It's just a blank, basically a blank sheet or an example of what your weekly would look like. You'd put the date along the side here,